Good afternoon, Innovation Nation, and welcome to another discussion video. Now, in this discussion, we are going to be going over Dynamaxing, what I think about it, what it's going to be, what I think it's going to do to the metagame, and pretty much just what it is, like in the essence of Dynamaxing. Now, there is an official Pokemon page talking about Dynamaxing, exactly how many stats get increased when you are able to use it, what it actually does, the bonus effects it has. Now, we're going to be starting off with seeing what it does beyond just making a Pokemon big, because we know it makes a Pokemon big, right? So that's the obvious thing. As you guys know, they did replace Z moves and Mega Evolutions with Dynamaxing. Now, aesthetically, as in comparison, as what we know of Dynamaxing, aesthetically pleasing wise, it's just a big Pokemon. The one plus side is that every Pokemon can do it. So that's pretty interesting. It's not like it's exclusive like Mega Evolutions. The Mega Evolutions were a little bit cooler in the design department because they did change the way a Pokemon does appear. But if we go back to a leak, we could see that Gigantamaxing or new dynamics, Dynamax and Gigantamax are new dynamics that will supersize Pokemon in specific areas. Gigantamaxing is different from Dynamax as it will change the way a Pokemon looks. Like Meowth looks like a long cat, Lapras gets layers of musical bars and shells on the notes, and then Pikachu looks like a fat Pikachu. So it does have some type of differences in terms of the Pokemon appearance, but those are not yet confirmed, even though all the red things in this leak so far have been confirmed. So I mean, this leak is doing a pretty good job being accurate, so we could just come to assume that Gigantamaxing will bring that new form change if you guys are looking for something that's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Now, what we're going to do is read up on the Dynamax. Like I did say before, each Pokemon can be Dynamax, which is nice. And the one cool thing about Dynamaxing that was also mentioned before is that it does raise the stats. Well, I didn't mention it before. We're going to talk about it because I did read through this before. And it does improve the stats. Okay, here's max moves. It turns all the moves a Pokemon can have into max moves. Like as you can see with this screenshot of the Grookey, Scratch turns into max strike, Razor Leaf turns into max overgrowth, Growl turns into max guard, and then Taunt turns into max guard. So what it seems is, depending on the type of the move, as you can see, max overgrowth is given the grass typing, and then Scratch is giving, I'm assuming that's normal typing. Depending on the type of the move, it will have different effects. So there will be that means there'll be a limited amount of Dynamax moves that every Pokemon can learn, as long as it learns that type of move. So if this was a fire Pokemon, it would be, actually we're gonna go back and forth between this 4chan post. This 4chan post does go over everything Dynamaxing wise. It would be max flare. So that's just the example of what it would do. Now we're going to go through that later on in the video. I do want to make this as in-depth as it possibly can. And like I said before, okay, this is what I was trying to get at. Like I said before, you will only be able to use Dynamax in certain locations like gym battles and I guess like some important trainer battles. So I don't quite know if this will be available for Wi-Fi. As it stands, it won't be, right? As it stands, this will not be a competitive thing because it says it will be used for gym battles and in certain situations. So which is good. Honestly, it's really good because I'm a little bit scared because Dynamaxing seems a little bit overpowered, if I'm going to be entirely honest. It honestly seems like Z moves on steroids because it's like a mixture of Z moves with stat boost, because as you can see, I think HP increases as well. Or something happened with HP. That another post was saying that I was reading up on. I don't have that post readily with me, but it does increase stats. It does, I think, increase HP. So if this thing was gonna be in competitive, that'd be ridiculous. I mean, it does have some balancing to it. I mean, you can only use Dynamaxing once per battle, so I guess that is kind of nice. But the fact that right here, you can only use Dynamax once per battle. You can only Dynamax your Pokemon in specific locations of the Galar region, like the stadiums of Pokemon gyms. Okay, so like that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think it's gonna be in Wi-Fi or competitive. Maybe in some stupid VGC format in the far future, it'll be in competitive. But as it stands, I don't think it will be. I guess you Dynamax with the cool wristband. That's nothing new. We've seen crap like that before. We go into the max moves. All the moves of Dynamax Pokemon will turn into special max moves. Max moves pack a punch, but that's not all. Some can even trigger powerful additional effects. Now we're going to go over some of those additional effects later and what I think about them. Max moves. The max moves of your Pokemon determined by what kind of types of moves they were. This is like I said before. Now, yeah, like I said before. Now that's pretty much all we know about Dynamaxing so far. But now we're going to go and look at the moves because there is a 4chan post. Where you can see some of the moves. I got it cut off here. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Live editing. I love it. Live editing. Now, we're going to go over the first one. We already saw it. It is Max Overgrowth, which is the grass type Z move. Apparently, you get a 1.5 times on all of these, by the way. All the moves that I mentioned right now, you get a 1.5 stat increase to all your stats, which is ridiculous. That's why I'm like, okay, maybe this won't be competitive, because this doesn't seem too competitive, because this lasts for 3 turns. You get a 1.5 times stat increase on every stat. No thanks, dude. So Max Overgrowth does a Z move, tier grass type damage, like I said, with the 1.5 times, and summons grassy terrain. So that's an interesting thing. It has additional effects to it. It'll summon grassy terrain. So the terrains are coming back in this gen, which is kind of interesting. I don't mind it too much. I do think they need to be a little bit nerfed, because I think 5 turns is a long time. It might actually get knocked down to 3 because of the Dynamaxing thing. Since Dynamax only lasts 3 turns, maybe those things will only last 3 turns as well. Who knows? Max Flare, the fire type, does damage and summons the sun. Obvious. Let me guess. Water summons the rain. Obvious. Electric summons electric terrain. Obvious. Continuing on. The rock type damage summons sandstorm. Obvious. Now, those are all cool and fun. I mean, I guess weather is going to be very relevant in this gen, at least playing through the game. Which is something that we did see with the wild area, right? Like, the wild area has different Pokemon throughout the place, the region. It's not a region, but you know, the area, depending on the weather that is present in those areas. So I guess the weather is super taken into account in this game. Flying type damage, you get the flying type damage, which is I guess I should have been saying these names. It'll be Max Overgrowth for grass, Max Flare for fire, Max Geyser for water, Max Lightning for the electric, Max Rockfall for the rock, Max Airstream, which will do 1.5 damage and increases your speed. I'm guessing that's like a Tailwind for 3 turns. Makes sense. Max Knuckle is the fighting type and will probably increase your attack or something like that. So these aren't like super like official, because Pokemon has not yet put this on their page. So these are just kind of like some speculatory thing, but that makes the most amount of sense. now, what happens if you're a special fighting type? That'll be funny, because those do exist. My boy Lucario can be special. Max Darkness does Z-move tier dark type damage and lowers the target's special defense. Max Starfall does Z-move tier fairy type damage and adds misty terrain. Steel Spike, steel damage, increases your defense. Max Strike, normal type, and lowers the target speed. Now that one's interesting, because I guess what else would you really give a normal type, right? No, you get super tail slap. Like, I don't it doesn't really make sense. And then Max Guard, which is I guess given to all of the non-damage moves, is going to make it so that you can protect from max attacks too. So that makes me think that you cannot protect from max attacks with a normal protect. But what kind of scares me is that Protect is not seen, like, at all in single player, right? Like, you don't make sure to have Protect in campaigns. So the fact that they gave, like, Max Guard, like, a Protect type thing worries me a little bit, because that might mean it's gonna be in competitive. I mean, this seems a little bit scary if this is gonna be in competitive. Let's be honest. This is a little bit OP in my book, but I guess in my book, Z moves were also OP, and they made it to competitive. In my book, Megas were also OP, and they made it into competitive. But you know what? What do you guys think? Like always, this is a discussion type video. Do you think that these will be allowed into competitive? What do you think of the Dynamax moves in general? Please let me know. I'd love to discuss it with you. Like I said, not everything I talk about in discussions is 100% confirmed, especially crap you find on 4chan by anonymous poster. I thought this seemed pretty credible. Seemed like something that they would end up doing. So I wanted to talk about it. This is official, so we could talk about this. Like, oh, this is this actually exists. But with that said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and comment down below. I'm Ovation. Hope you did enjoy. Peace out.